We had an Arri 2C, which was the workhorse camera of the day. We had a couple of sandbags, and we had the black on black. And George and Byron and I, anybody else, can't recall, we drove up to the Hay Deniliquin Road, which is a long, straight stretch of road. And at dusk, far too many kangaroos and stuff, but we ignored all that. I lay on the bonnet, holding my 35mm widescreen Araflex, sitting on a sandbag on the bumper bar, which I think we had an ocker strap or something holding it on. But basically I'm holding the camera, lying on my stomach, and George is sitting on the bonnet behind me, holding my legs. And we barreled off down that road, talking to ourselves, well, the whole approach was we don't want to undercrank and speed up the film, so we better do it at real time. And we did, for doing the flashing line sequence. And after, I mean, this is just crazy, you know, it was so dangerous with no safety things of any sort. And after we'd done it, okay, great, take the camera off, pile in the car, and we're heading off back down the road and we had a blowout. Like just a matter of some minutes after we'd done all that shooting, lying on the bonnet like that, we had a blowout. Christ almighty, imagine doing it that way today. But, you know.
Originally, there was going to be a Pantech with bikes all loaded on and taken out to locations, and, you know, then we would have to be driven to locations, and it was suggested, you know, maybe, guys, you could save a lot of money, this to Byron and George, save a lot of money on all this transporting stuff. Look, let us keep the bikes and we'll just ride them to and from locations. Isn't that a great idea? And of course, that saved them a hell of a lot of money.
We took the bikes home every night. This was made it so dangerous, really. You could never do it these days, is to say, like, to 25 bikies. Take the bikes down to Little River. Be there at 7 o'clock. Of course, we'd organise a convoy. They'd all get together on the highway. Here you have people who have shot a lot of film going down to Little River. You only needed one semi-trailer to hit us, and there's half the fucking movie gone. You'd have to go and recast and reshoot.
We had to ride to location every morning and come back home every night on bikes that were, for most, unroadworthy, half of them not registered, and with absolute total disregard for any laws. I'm talking about road laws.
The main thing that I felt like making the film was that I have to stay alive. I'm on this motorbike, we're going, you know, all over Victoria. I've just got to make sure that I survive, you know, number one.
Pretty much a drag race to work every day. 5:36 in the morning down the Geelong freeway, there'd be this gaggle of motorcyclists, police cars and crew all zooming along.
So, you know, every morning, because we were working ridiculous hours and they'd be raging all night, I was a bit concerned that one of them wouldn't turn up. This big pack would turn up and you think, oh, which one's missing? But it didn't happen. I don't know how it didn't happen, because some of those actors have never seen a bike before in their lives, and they were young, you know, young and silly.
I do remember going to work at like 220 kilometres an hour and stuff like that, and when I think back on it, I think we were really lucky that none of us got cleaned up.
I remember David Brax was lighter than I was, and we'd have both of our Kawasaki's wound out to the stops, and he could just creep by me. And I'd be doing about 206 kilometres an hour, and he'd be getting 208 and this down these freeways. You were living the role. No, it was crazy. I mean, you weren't living the badness of it, but you're living the wildness of it. We had this great letter that everyone was given who had a vehicle to drive or ride, and it was signed by Inspector Bloggs.
Inspector Bloggs.
Inspector Bloggs.
Inspector Bloggs.
Inspector Bloggs.
Inspector Bloggs. Inspector Bloggs, his name was, like, oh, wow.
But sure enough, Inspector Bloggs was the head of the Victorian Police Department.
The Commissioner of Police.
The Deputy Commissioner of Victorian Police.
The head of sort of media, I guess.
The sergeant in the police public relations department.
And the letter said words to the effect of the holder of this of this letter is involved in a
major motion picture in the state of Victoria.
A project that's supported by the Victorian government.
Any assistance would be greatly appreciated. Well, it was a licence to let it rip, and that was happening. You know, that was happening on a nightly basis.
We used to call that our get out of jail free card.
Get out of jail free card.
To get out of jail free card.
Get out of jail free card.
Get out of jail free card. It was a piece of magic, this letter. And we did use it to the full extent of its licence, which of course really was no licence at all. It didn't really give us licence to break the law, but it gave us licence to be very relaxed about how we operated.
Unbelievable. Only in the 70s.
So, yeah, Mr. Bloggs or Inspector Bloggs, an unlikely thing. You probably think, well, Byron could have invented that anyway, could have not been real at all. It just hands it out. It's possible, I don't know.
So the get out of jail free card, when I give it to the guy in the trike, is a reference to that.
Get out of jail free card.